Hello. I see there are a few folks on. We will get started in a minute. You know, I like to see who's on because I can't see you. So feel free to write something in the chat if you're here, and we will get started soon. So if you can hear me okay, please let me know. I actually wrote some notes for today. I had to go back and do some actual research um, because gaslighting is so insidious and so technical. So this is going to be a lot of learning information and a lot of aha moments you're going to feel throughout this conversation. So I'm waiting. I see more folks are joining, so I'm just waiting a second. So go ahead as you're joining. Let me know you're here. Just like or say I'm here, and we'll get started in a minute. I'm in the Houston area, and the wind is going crazy. So I'm hoping I don't lose any power or anything like that. So we shall see. All right. So I hope everyone is having an okay week, having an okay day. We're going to go ahead and get started. I see more people have joined. So for those of you who are just now joining, like I said, I love to know who I'm talking to because I can't see you, but you can see me. So feel free to say I'm here or like or put any comment you like to let me know you're here. We're going to get started. We are going to talk about gaslighting. This is the second conversation I've had on gaslighting. Okay. Hi, Kat. Welcome. Welcome. I see some of you guys are sending me private messages. So, this conversation on gaslighting is going to be a lot more. Hey, Pam, welcome. It's going to be a lot more informative. Gaslighting, how many of you guys, first off, have experienced gaslighting? And I'm going to share what that is first because maybe to some people in here, they don't know what that is. So, gaslighting is really the very subtle, um, abusive way to make you feel that you're crazy by making you doubt yourself. That is gaslighting. So, really, some of the long term effects of gaslighting are anxiety, are depression, trauma, PTSD, right? Low self esteem. All of these are different impacts of gaslighting. So I mentioned this before, but if you're new here, you might not have heard this little background story. So the term gaslighting was coined by a play. It came out in 1938. It was called Gaslight. And in this play, and in this play, um, the older man, the husband, there was an elderly couple. He would wait for the wife to go to bed, and he would like turn the gaslight on, dim the lights. He would do different things. So she would wake up and say, "I thought I turned the stove off. I thought I turned that light off." And he would say, "I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. That never happened." And he kept doing it daily and daily. So the goal was that she would basically lose her mind and that she would be committed and he would be able to get some money off of her. So that's where this term came from. Okay. Being gaslit is so covert, is so insidious, and it happens so minor. That's the scary part about it. It doesn't happen in such a big way that you can look and say, you're manipulating me. No, it's a very subtle thing. So I'm going to give you guys some examples of how subtle it is. And I would, if this is you, and a lot of these are my stories or different stories I've heard. So if this is you, please comment and let me know. Have you ever told a story? And while you were telling the story, maybe there was a minor detail in that story that you left out or you forgot. And the person who was gaslighting you said, no, 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 that's not how it happened. And you're like, oh, okay. No, no, it happened this way. And you're sitting here thinking, okay, I mean, it was a small, minor detail, not a big deal. You continue to tell your story, right? And you're interrupted again. No, see, that didn't happen either. You know what? Just let me tell the story. That is an example. And it's so minor, right? Even if you're hearing this example, it might sound like, what's the big deal? When that is done over and over and over, it really makes you not only doubt yourself, but get this, you start to look to that abusive, manipulative person to validate your own memories. That is when the scary part begins. So if you felt that before, go ahead and let me know. But that is one of the very subtle things. Some people are gaslit by the environment. It's not always verbal. It could be as small as I've had clients, or this has happened to me before. You put your keys on the table, but when you come back, you're like, I could have sworn I put my keys here. Where are my keys? And this person, the abusive person, the narcissist, sociopath, anti-personality disorder, whatever the diagnosis may be, they intentionally move that object to make you think that you were losing your mind. So being gaslit is not just verbal, it can also be your environment. Okay. So, like I said, it starts very, very, very small. So, over time, you second guess your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and that'll make any person feel like they're losing their mind. That'll make any person feel like they're going crazy, right? So I'm going to give you guys, I think I have 5 or 6 different gaslighting techniques. I'm looking at my notes here. Different gaslighting techniques to watch out for. Number one, if you're taking notes, this is very important to pay attention to, and it might validate some of the things that you've gone through. Withholding. Withholding. So what does that mean? Refuses to listen to your concerns or pretend that they do not understand. So in other words, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean I cut you off in the story? What do you mean I invalidated you while you were telling the story? I didn't do that. I don't remember doing that. You're making this up. You know what? Let's just not even talk about it. Right? Withholding. That's the first part. Um, countering. Countering is another one. Making you question your memory. So, in other words, I'm telling the story and I'm saying, yeah, you remember last week when our son was at the playground and he was on the swing, and then another kid came up and hit him. Okay. The abusive person would then say, no, 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 he was on the slide when that happened. He wasn't on the swing. You can't even get your story straight. This is what I'm talking about. You can't even tell a story. And then, and they're embarrassing you in front of people. Has that happened to anyone here? Or it can even be in person, and you can't even get through to a story without feeling like you're not telling the story correctly. So that's what's called countering, okay? Or another way of countering is you say a part of the story, and they say, "Oh, wait, you missed this small part. You missed this detail," and you say, "No, no, I already talked about that." And they say, "I didn't hear you say it," and you're like, "No, I could have sworn I just said that." Nope, nope. Here you go again, pretending. Your memory is just so bad. Your memory is terrible. You never said that. That is another example of countering. Okay. The third one is forgetting or denial. So, one thing is when you're particularly dealing with a narcissist, I mentioned before that they love future faking. Future faking is making promises about the future that they never intend to keep. So, one thing that they love to do as part of gaslighting is forgetting. Okay. So, maybe you had date night planned. I'm speaking of a romantic relationship. You had a date night. And the day of, you text and say, "Hey, what time are we meeting up tonight?" And they say, "For what?" Right? You're like, are you serious? We planned on Monday. We said we were going to have a date on Friday. Remember, I said we never go anywhere, and you said you were going to take me out Friday? So what time are we meeting up? And they respond, "I never said that." I never said that. What are you talking about? Denying the promises they make. They promised you that they would take you out. They promised you that they would stop abusing you, manipulating you, cheating on you, right? Whatever the promise might be. And the moment you bring that up, they say, I never promised you that. You're making this up. I never said that. That impacts your mental health because not only are you holding on to a promise from a loved one, you then begin to feel, well, but I trusted you. Who can I trust then? And then you start to back up and you don't expect much from them anymore. And that's how they can kind of weasel their way into getting away with things because you don't expect much out of them, right? And it's such an insidious thing that their words at this point just don't mean anything. Their words really don't hold much weight, yet we still go to them to validate us. That is one of the impacts of gaslighting, and it's a very insidious circle, right? You're just kind of just going in a circle, right? Another thing that I found to be something that I experience is blocking. That would drive me up a wall. It's called blocking. And this is when they change the subject and flip it on you, right? So you bring something up and you say, I'm so tired of you not helping around the house. I'm not a single parent. You need to help with the kids, you know? You need to hold up your end and pay your part of the bill. Whatever that issue is that you used to argue about. And they then flip it on you and say, you know what? I don't even want to talk about this. Wait. Is it your mother? Is your mom the one who's putting these ideas in your head? What about your best friend? Is it her? Is it him? See, they always put stupid thoughts in your head. This is why I don't want you hanging out with them. Every time you hang out with them, you come home with a new issue. It's them, it's not me. Has anyone experienced that before? And one of the things about that type of manipulation is you start to withdraw from your friends and family. You start to sit and think, well, I actually didn't think about that until I had a conversation with this person. And even if you've never had that conversation, because at the end of the day, that's not relevant to what you're arguing about, now you're wasting time trying to figure out, well, is someone influencing me? Because they've then flipped that situation around. They were clearly in the wrong, but they somehow made you feel that you were so naive, gullible, that somehow your feelings of being upset because they were cheating, because they're not providing to the house, because they're not keeping promises, because they're being mean and nasty and cold. No, no, no. You're not allowed to feel upset by that. In fact, you're only upset because your friends told you you should be upset or your family told you you should be upset. That is called blocking. It's very manipulative and it is used very, very often in abusive relationships, specifically narcissistic um, relationships. And as I'm communicating, as I'm talking to you guys, like I always say, you can put your information in the chat. You can send me a message on Meetup. And let me just put this caveat here. I kind of assumed last time. So if you send me something that you don't want me to share, start that and say, don't share. It's just for me. If you don't mind me reading it to everyone else, go ahead and say that. That way I can read it out loud. But blocking is one of the tactics that really made me feel like I was losing my mind, made me begin to withdraw from my friends and my family because I actually started to believe that I was being influenced. Not the behaviors that I was experiencing from my ex. It was the people telling me that I should be upset. So blocking is one that really, really bothers people. Another one I want to share, and this is the last gaslighting technique to watch out for that I'm going to share, is trivializing. Trivializing. So remember that talk I did, you're so sensitive? That's trivializing. So what that does is that you begin to believe your emotions aren't valid. So how many of you guys have sat and had a conversation with this abusive parent, sibling, friend, husband, spouse, wife, whoever it is, and they say, "You're just so sensitive." In fact, talking is so hard to talk to you because everything sets you off. It's so hard to talk to you because I know you're going to get upset, and in my case, it even came out to, well, that's why I talk to these other women because they listen to me. You don't listen to me. You get emotional, you get upset. When in reality, you were trying to have an adult conversation with your partner, with your friend, with your family member, and say, your actions are making me feel this way. How can we fix this? Instead of it in a healthy relationship, that's acknowledged, it's addressed, and then it's changed. However, in an unhealthy relationship, you are not allowed to feel the way you feel because you're so sensitive and I can't even talk to you. And this is why I shut down. How many of you guys have heard that before? This is why I shut down. And sometimes they'll even leave. I've had clients or people tell me their exes left for days, went to the store and was gone for hours, all because you said, my feelings are hurt. I'm bothered when you do this. And then what happens is you begin walking on eggshells because you're not allowed to feel. You're not allowed to be upset. And this is what makes the healing process so difficult because when we start to feel upset as we're healing, we think back to that moment we weren't allowed to be upset. So we then gaslight ourselves and really get on ourselves for being upset and beat ourselves down. Why are you angry? You should be over this. No, that's gaslighting. That's what we were conditioned to believe. It's okay to be upset. That's why we have that emotion. The emotion comes from somewhere. It's okay to be upset. What has happened to you was upsetting, but you were told to believe otherwise. So is this clear? I hope this is making sense. And if this has resonated with anyone, please feel free to let me know if you've experienced any of these techniques or tactics. Let me know if you've experienced any of this. So let's talk about how to fight it. Now you know what it is. Now you know what you're dealing with. How do you fight it? Number one, recognize what it is. Many of us had no idea what we were experiencing because it was so covert. It's not until we then look over our relationship that we could say, that happened to me. Yeah, this person he or she would always make me feel that I was lying my memory was bad or I was losing my mind or I was crazy. When you acknowledge what's happening to you, and for many of you like myself who still has to interact with this person, you can recognize it for what it is. And once you recognize it, you won't engage. Have you ever tried arguing with a narcissist? You're going to lose. And this is not me downing you or saying you're not strong enough, but they literally feed off of that chaos. And if you're a person who does not like chaos, who does not like conflict, who does not like to be to yell and to do all of this stuff, you're not gonna like that argument. Many times I've seen where the narcissist or the abusive person, and I always say abusive person as well because it can be multiple personalities within there. But there are many times when I've seen them bait people. It's happened to me where they keep doing things or keep saying things, and you're trying to be calm. You're trying not to engage. You don't know why yet, but you just know you don't want them to just kind of be set off. But they keep baiting you and keep saying things, and then finally you snap. And the moment you snap, they say, "Oh, see, you're the abusive one. You're the aggressive one. You're the narcissist. You're gaslighting me." The moment they got you to get a reaction, they turn it on you. And this is imagine, I mean, you've been there. I don't have to tell you that. But you've already been gaslit. And long-term gaslighting has such damaging effects, but you can overcome that. But you're really just trying to have peace. That's it. That's all you want. You just want peace. Nothing crazy. But you can't even get that, right? So that's why I say don't engage. You're not going to win. They're going to keep making you feel like you're crazy. They're going to keep making you feel like they're right, you're wrong. Their memory is superior, yours is inferior. You don't engage with that, right? And don't self-sacrifice to spare their feelings, because after the narcissist blows up, and they always do, they are then going to come back around and begin the love bombing, right? It doesn't always look like, I love you, I'm sorry, this and that. It may be something they do to just kind of get your attention or take your mind off of it. Maybe they come to you and say, I'm really depressed. I'm just dealing with a lot of stuff. I just wish you could be my peace. I wish you could just, listen to me and understand. I don't want to act this way. I don't want to be like this. Right? Now, you were just victimized, okay? You were just abused, made to feel like you were crazy, manipulated, all that crazy stuff. But because you're codependent, you then turn and you coddle and you want to take them in and you want to fix it. So that's what, I was codependent. That's what we do. You have to stand your ground. And it's interesting if you say to this person, you know, I'm sorry you're depressed, but it doesn't give you a right to treat me the way you just treated me. It doesn't give you a right to speak to me the way you do. I promise you, they're probably going to get angry again. And that's how you really know their true intention, because it didn't work. And that's how you know. But many of us, that helps us take them back in, because we're like, oh, okay, you didn't really mean it. No, they meant it. They just don't want to be held accountable. So no longer self-sacrificing your feelings to just make them feel better, to make them feel happy, right? They don't deserve that. And you deserve better. And lastly, seek support. What you're doing right now, knowing you're not alone. So many times, this is such narcissism for the survivor, for the victim, is very isolating. There are moments you feel alone. There are moments you feel like you're the only person who gets it. No one will understand, because you've really been made to feel that no one understands you. And if you try to share this with someone who's never experienced it, they surely won't get it. It's very difficult to wrap your brain around. So what you're doing now, you're coming to a group where you're getting information on it. Soon we're going to start doing more face-to-face support groups. Soon we're going to have an asset therapist once a month. There are different things that we're going to start to do for you to really get this support, to grow, to strengthen yourself. Because recovering from this type of emotional and mental abuse is a process, but it's not impossible. So I'm going to take a moment here. I do see that I'm getting a few comments. So let me go ahead and see. And remember, when you're commenting, if there's something you don't want me to read in the post, go ahead and say, do not read this. Okay. Share if you want to. So I will share this. Trivializing is a big one for me. I grew up with it. Always doubted my own emotions and hated my weak character, in quotation, as my mom said. Thank you for mentioning that. True. And then also true narcissist love argument. Yeah, trivializing is a big one. It's such a big one to hear, because feelings should be validated. You should be able to say, Paula, you hurt my feelings. And I should say, I'm sorry. What is it that I did? How can I do better? And I should then change my behavior. But if I were to ever say to you, how did I hurt your feelings? Are you serious? No, you're sensitive. It wasn't me, it's you. That's because I'm a stranger to you, that's going to be offensive, right? But why then do we take that from those who are supposedly the ones who love us? And I'm saying this always as a person who has been on the receiving end from the abuse. It's not okay. Let me see what others are saying here. I will not say your name. All right. Trying to get closer with a sibling on something that happened in the past, and they hang up on you and say that you're stressing them out when they brought up circumstances surrounding, I'm assuming, the situation. Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing. When you bring up an issue that's bothering you, that they're doing to you, they're telling you that you're stressing them out. It's your issue. It's still your fault. It always comes back to being your fault. So imagine when you do remove yourself from that, you have very difficult time making decisions. So when I came out of my marriage, I couldn't even decide on what to eat for dinner. If someone were to ask me, "Hey, do you want to go to the movies or do you want to go to lunch?" I would have a very difficult time making that decision because I was so used to every decision being um, pushed away, being, invalidated. I didn't even know how to make a decision anymore. And it's as small as that. So imagine bigger things, finances, life or death situations. That part of your brain was in such a fight or flight mode that you can't even rationalize. So it's understanding that what you've gone through, and I listed quite a few things. I listed quite a few things that gaslighting does to a person and what it looks like. So you can have an understanding of what it means when someone is being trivializing, right? When someone is blocking and flipping it. It's your friends. I'll choose who you hang out with. I've heard that before, right? But now you know what it is. Now you understand why you might have felt at times you were losing your mind and maybe why you still do feel that way. There were times I would literally just go in a closet and just like sit down and just hold my head and be like, what is going on? Right. And I'm looking and I think back to, and I'm saying this now because I'm in front of you guys, I'm sharing this with you as a person on the other side. But I was so entrenched in it that it felt like there was absolutely no way out. But there's so much power in knowledge. But once you learn, like I said, once you're in the fact finding stage, it helps. And then once you're ready to actually put that knowledge to work, you grow even further. And that's my plug here for the Healing Loudly course. For those of you who are not in the fact finding stage or looking into really solidifying your growth, that's going to be a great course for you because this is a process. This is a process. I'm going to read a couple of more things before. So, yeah, feel free if you're in the Meetup app to send me anything. Like I said, this will be available as well. So if you've joined later, you missed the beginning part, no worries, you'll have access to this after. Okay. Okay, so just the same situation I just explained before, when this person was hung up on, the person who did hang up on them denied it and say you're being crazy, gaslighting, right? Um, and it sounds like you just wanted closure. One thing I say to people is you are your own closure. Do not look to the abuser for closure. You are your own closure. You will not get closure from them. I cannot express that enough. You will not get closure from the person who is not well enough to even invest in their own healing and to abuse others in the process. They are not going to give you closure. This is where your own healing comes in because you can validate yourself. So if you are just joining and you haven't watched any of the clips, make sure you either subscribe. I know some of you guys don't have Google, so if you can't, that's fine. Maybe you can save it as a favorite so that you can catch up on some of the other videos as well. So all of these videos are just educational, giving you information. And like I said, we're going to be moving to more because you guys asked for it. We're going to be moving into more support groups with this information. So um, I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope this was great information for you. I hope you learned something. And I hope you can use this as you continue through your journey. I always say we will get through this together. We are healing loudly. It is not impossible to heal. And you are taking the best steps to make sure that you are healthy. So thank you all for watching.